I've been drinking codeine instead of racking even get. I can feel this money power, got these niggas so upset. I can't worry about the flaw shit, the flawless on my neck.
Not everybody has access to expensive plugins. Maybe you just started, maybe you don't have enough money, but that doesn't mean that you can't make fire beats. And in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you some of my favorite plugins which are completely free. We're gonna go over sound plugins as well as processing plugins, and I'm gonna show you how you can use them to make insanely fire beats. So without too much talk, let's just get into it. Alright, for those who watch my videos, you've probably seen this first one, but we're gonna start off with Lounge Lizard. This is probably my favorite free plugin to use, especially whenever it comes to electric pianos, Rhodes, all that stuff like soft sounds. But yeah, to begin with the sample breakdown, this is the first sound which I used. So real quick, to break it down, like I'm just using a simple 1/5 chord progression, and I'm in the key of E minor, so basically this is gonna be our first chord. And what I did was I just got this extremely basic minor triad chord, and after that I just took the root note of the chord and I pitched it up an octave, so like this. Then I took the third of the chord and I pitched that an octave. So basically we just have this inverted chord. And now moving on to the second chord, all I did was I just copied over the chord and then I pitched it down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the whole chord progression. Now, if you're not familiar with what the third, a root note, 1/5, you know, all these things, what they mean, I actually recently made a very in-depth video, but it's also short and like very easy to digest. But I made a complete video on music theory, so you can go check it out. It's up there. Trust me, like music theory is very useful, and like I tried to give you the most essential things in that video, so yeah, go check it out. Now, starting off with the first effect, I wanted something which is gonna soften the sound a little bit more and kind of spread it a little bit. So I added this chorus. It's called the Tau Chorus LX, and let me tell you, like if you don't have the money for the Arturia one, which I use a lot, this pretty much does the exact same thing, but it's free. I'm taking out the high end of the sample, which I'm later gonna fill with the different melodies that I'm gonna add. I really wanted the sound to be very wide, so I added this fruity stereo shaper. Basically what it does is it just spreads the sound even more, and with all the effects added, this is how it sounds. Moving on to the second layer, I wanted something which is gonna add a little bit more texture and, you know, movement to the whole sample, but it's also gonna be more ambient and the backgrounds. And this is the second plugin which I really like using. So once again, it's free. It's called DSK Ethereal Pads, and basically it's just a pad generator, and it has a lot of options. You can tweak the different presets, you can tweak the different layers. Like it's really in depth. And what I did was basically I just copied the exact same chords. Moving on to the effects, if you remember in the previous layer we cut out the low mids, since this is where this layer is gonna be residing, like most of the frequencies. And I'm adding this EQ since it has a lot of low end and a lot of high end, and it's also taking out the frequencies where the electric piano is. Now after that I wanted to add even more movement and texture to the whole preset, so what I did was I added the stock FL Studio delay, and I have it set to the ping pong preset. So basically this is just gonna make delayed versions of our sound, and it's gonna bounce them around in both ears, so you know, it's just like ear candy. Once again, I'm adding the fruity stereo shaper, spreading the sound a little bit. And since we're gonna be using only 4 layers in this melody, what we want to do is basically just spread the sound, make it count, like make it as wide as possible, take up as much frequencies as possible, and that's how you get a full sounding loop with just a couple of layers. Now, since we had the chords, we had a melody which is very ambient, it's in the background, it was time to add a top line melody, which is gonna make the whole thing more catchy and, you know, just more interesting. So for this layer, I pulled up this VST, which is free once again, and it's called Black Keys 3. Now, it doesn't have a lot of presets in the free version, but it still has something which is very nice. Like, it has a couple of flutes, it has some keys, bells, synths, all that stuff. And my favorite part is you can actually go in and like, you can really mess with the glide settings, with the filter. There are a lot of effects. So yeah, it's pretty decent for a free plugin. And what I did was I picked this Tapes flute and I laid down this melody. Now on this layer, processing with the effects plays a huge role. Like, it's not even the same sound. So let me show you real quick before we break it down. Since the flute sounds like very thin, I needed something which is gonna make it more thick and, you know, just more in your face. So there's this cool trick which you can use with any delay, and I really like using this one. And to get this more thick effect, basically what you do is you just get any delay, and in this case I'm using the free delay 2. And what you want to do is you want to set a very tight delay. Like, I'm talking something like 10 to 20 milliseconds. And with this delay, you're gonna see a big difference. So this is without the delay and with the delay. Moving on, I had to shape the flute a little bit more. So I added this EQ. Now I'm giving it a little bit more low end, so you know it's more prominent. And then I'm cutting out some of the high end, which was just basically noise and, you know, stuff that you don't want to have. Now once again we have chorus, and I'm using this Tau Chorus LX, again free stereo shaper just to make it more wide. And then I have the next free plugin, which is called Skynet. And basically it's just a reverb plugin, but it has a little bit more ambience to it. And finally added some Pancake, which just gives the sample a little bit more movement. And yeah, this plugin is free. If you watch my videos, you see me use it a lot. And finally, to add a little bit more low end, and I'm actually gonna be using this as a bass instead of an 808. Like always, I open up Flex and I'm using the BB flat Lunager preset, and I lay down this pattern, which is basically following the root notes, and then I have this little slide, and also it's just following the kick pattern, so I have it chopped up. And I have a pretty fast distortion, basically to just make the bass a little bit more rough, and an EQ just taking out the distorted frequencies. What I did next was I took the sample, I pitched it up 3 semitones, and it sounds like this. Moving on to the drums, I have this 2-step hi-hat, and right here I just have this roll at the end, quad pattern, which is basically the basic quad pattern with this little extra quad added, basically just to add a little bit more bounce. And here I'm switching it up and I'm basically adding a snare, which is going to replace the quad in some places. Then I have this triangle, which plays on the 1 in every single 8 bars, and a very simple kick pattern. Once again, remember, simple drums, simple melodies, and you're gonna make a lot of money, because here you're trying to impress artists and not producers. Producers won't buy your beats, so you know, don't waste your time trying to impress other producers, trying to make something which is insane. You know, it's not worth it. Basically, if you want to make money, if you want to get more placements, just make sure that you're making stuff that's simple and easy to rap on. But with that being said, this is how the drums sound. All the drum sounds come from my free drum kits, you can find them in the description. And now, like always, let's just play the final beat with some added acapella vocals and see how it will sound like in a song.
I've been drinking codeine instead of rocking even get. I can feel this money power, got these niggas so upset. I can't worry about the flaw shit, the flawless on my neck. Went for noodles on the dog, yeah, hold that's all. Go parade and whenever, I just spaz out. Dripped in Louis V bandana, got my rag out. Bitch was so damn excited, she just lost count. I got shit like Nike, get nigga checked out. Gotta make them pay for every year, they never paid up. Gucci down in the trap with the K up.